Hi, I'm Nisha DeGaring, host of Good Things Utah, and I've been a longtime supporter of Todd's Belief Cast. I hope you find inspiration in the courageous stories shared by the amazing people Todd features on his show. The guests serve as shoulders for us to stand on, allowing us to see a little further and cultivate belief in oneself. Remember, you have the dignity and power to change. I encourage you to keep striving and believing in yourself. Enjoy today's podcast.
I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to the incredible sponsors of the Belief Cast podcast. First, Craig from Craig Swap and Associates. If you need an attorney, he's your guy. Trustworthy, compassionate, always there when you need him most. Next, Wasatch Recovery, the greatest university on the planet, transforming lives one day at a time. Sandy from Minky Couture, the creative genius behind the most comfortable blanket you'll ever wrap yourself in. Comfort like no other. The visionaries behind Thread wallets. These wallets redefine style and functionality. Dave Philippi from Micro Plus, pushing the boundaries of nanotechnology and scientific research to bring us cutting-edge supplements for optimal health. The Ralphs and the Debenhams, creators of Mori Nutrition and Calm. Because if you're struggling with sleep, feeling stressed, or can't focus, Calm is your answer. Special thanks to the award-winning pianist Paul Cardall for his beautiful music that brings inspiration to every episode. And finally, Gab Wireless, letting kids be kids and giving parents the peace of mind they deserve. Right now, Gab is offering $25 off any device to new customers with no contract required. That's $25 off any Gab smartphone or smartwatch. Just go to gab.com/belief. That's where you'll get the best deal. That's Gab, GABB.com/belief. Thank you to all these amazing sponsors for supporting the Belief Cast podcast and empowering us to continue spreading positivity and inspiration to the world. And we are back, everybody. This is Todd Sylvester with the Todd Inspires Belief Cast. As always, thank you for tuning in and for believing in me. It means the world to me. We are making a difference in this world. And that's why I do this. And it's not because of me necessarily. It's really from these amazing people that I bring on my show. And it wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for my sponsors, which I just mentioned before earlier. But thanks again for believing in me. You make it possible that I can spread this word out to thousands and close to millions of people, which just blows my mind. And today, guys, you are in for a treat. Two guys that you need to know about. Today, we're diving into a journey of two inspiring brothers from Jerome, Idaho, now making waves out of Boise, known as the Freedom Renegades. They're on a mission to elevate consciousness through poetry and hip-hop. We have Nathan and Kris Cook, Holistic Meditation, MC Monkey D, in the house today. Welcome, you guys.
I can't believe you got that right. Everybody thinks that we're Holistic Meditation. And because one of our channels blew up under my name, and nobody knows we're the Freedom Renegades. That's amazing to start this off.
No, I do my homework, man. I've been studying you guys when I first reached out to you guys and saw you. I've been one of your fans ever since, and I love what you guys do. So I wanted to really make sure I know about you guys.
Dude, you're awesome. I'm impressed.
I love that.
Before we even started, I was like, should we just go under Holistic Meditation? He's like, well, we can maybe tell the story. That's so awesome, dude.
It's like a running joke for us, People,
right,
it's
I bet. Yeah. Well, it's funny because it took me a while to figure that out too. But yeah, the Freedom Renegades, man, and here we go. And a little bit more, your passion and talents have taken you on stage with icons like Nappy Roots, the Ying Yang Twins, LL Cool J. I was a huge LL Cool J fan growing up and listening to his music. That his one song, When I'm Alone in My Room and Sometimes I Stare at the Wall, that one.
Yeah.
Love him. You guys are, you've been across the West, including states of Idaho, Utah, California. You guys have this contagious energy. You really, truly do. I think what really gravitated me towards you guys is that you love what you do. Is that fair?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is the only thing, besides meditation, this is the only thing I cared about my whole life.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. And again, you guys have an impressive following. I mean, hundreds of thousands on TikTok and Instagram. You have close to 50 million real views, which is crazy. Over 1.1 million songs played. Again, the Freedom Renegades, guys. We are so grateful to have Nathan and Kris Cook in the house.
I am stoked to be here, and I really appreciate you for asking us, man.
So why don't we start off like this, guys, just so we can, my listeners can get to know you guys a little bit better. And maybe we start with you, Nathan. Give us a little background on you and just a little bit about your upbringing, if you will.
We grew up in a small farm town in Jerome, moving hand lines, getting up early. That's literally what we did is work. We grew up on a little farm, and we were very involved in sports. My brother was a state champion in wrestling.
Oh, wow.
So since I was 4, we were wrestling, playing basketball, playing football. We were both on the all-star team in our high school. I played quarterback. He played linebacker. And I don't know, man. I kind of chased the path when I got out of college. I followed a girl up into Boise, and we broke up pretty quickly after getting here. And so I was just here by myself. I went to college for about 3 years and just, I don't know, I didn't enjoy it. Yeah. I tried to find a path in there. There was nothing I really liked, but the whole time I really liked hip hop. Like, it was something I always wanted to do. I would spend all my time sitting in my garage, just rapping songs and pretending I was putting on shows for, a crowd full of people. But I was always scared to get on stage, just because I was more scared of what people would think.
Sure.
And eventually I just got so tired of school. I was like, I think I'm going to start doing this. We ended up going to a concert one night downtown, and we saw an act that we really liked, but the show was really poor. We really didn't enjoy it at all. And so we came home and decided that we were going to do this. But right before that happened, Kris was 18 and I was 19. I had a fake ID. We went to this bar down the street, and we were just hanging out. And next thing I know, my brother has signed himself up for karaoke, and I look over and he's performing, and he's got the whole entire bar surrounding him. And I'm just like, man, if this guy could do it, I gotta be able to do it. So after that, we're just like, you know what, let's actually try this. And the music, it took 12 years till anybody cared. We put a lot of shows on, in our city, people know us, but it was just really hard to get traction until we actually got presence on the internet and reached into people's homes. Yeah. That's when it started mattering. And we had a couple videos kind of take off. We got on TikTok, and I don't know, within probably 6 months, it started taking off.
I mean, once it hit pretty quickly. Nate posted a video on TikTok because we started using it. I started using the app, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm going to try to promote the music on there." And he posted a video, and I woke up one day and looked at it, and I checked TikTok, and I looked at the video, and I'm like, and usually we would get 100 likes on Facebook or something.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I got 100 likes on a video, a post or whatever.
Yeah.
And I look at it and I see 900. And I'm like, did I see that wrong? Does that say 90? And I look at it again. It says 900 likes. And I was like, can I cuss on this podcast?
Sure.
Okay.
You guys be you. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. But yeah, I see it. I'm like, holy shit, that says 900. And I call Nate. I'm like, dude, you know that really you just posted yesterday's got 68,000 fucking likes on or fucking views, and then it's got 900 likes, and he's like, no, and he checks it out and he's like, what? And my eyes kind of opened up. I'm like, dude, we can really do this. So we started hammering it with that, and then we had a video go to just under 1 million views, and our eyes really opened up. And
wow. Yeah.
People started. Fred Durst commented on it, and a whole bunch of people were just
flow bots.
Yeah, people were really, we were like, okay, this is the way. And after that, we really just started hammered on TikTok, and we took our TikTok up, and then it transferred over to Instagram after I got out of prison, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
And then now we got both Instagram and TikTok working. We do well on TikTok or on TikTok lives, and we've been able to make it so that our income that we're generating is substantial. Yeah. And I actually just put in my 2 weeks at my job. I work at Whole Foods, a full-time job, and I just put my 2 weeks in last week.
Congrats.
Yeah, so we hop on TikTok every day, and we just freestyle. Yeah. So people give us words, and that's what we do every single day. We're at the studio 7 to 8 a.m. and we spend until he has to go to work every day rapping.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. You guys, that's amazing. Kris, if you're okay with it, do you mind sharing kind of what happened and what you got caught up to led you to prison. I think our listeners would love to kind of hear that background if you're okay with it.
Yeah, I'm totally open with it. Completely open book. Don't hesitate to ask at all.
Okay.
Yeah, and I got in trouble for drug trafficking in Idaho. Idaho's marijuana laws are very strict.
Yeah.
So it was a marijuana trafficking sentence. So initially I had 10 years over my head. My case went on for like a little over 3 years because I got in trouble right a month before COVID. So it was very lucky for me, actually, because with a felony case of that nature in Idaho, they were like, get in the back of the line, dude. You're just waiting. Yeah. And it got to the point where we're almost going to change. They're trying to lobby to change the legalization of marijuana right at the end of my sentence. So I dragged my feet for like as long as I could right at the end.
Yeah, right.
But I ended up having to fire a lawyer. I hired one guy, and he's like, just plead guilty and hope they don't throw you to the wolves because you haven't been in a bunch of trouble. And so I just fired him. I'm like, why would I take 10 years? Why did I even hire you? So I fired that guy, hired a different one. And that guy ended up at the very end of it. Long story short, he ended up getting the 9 years of it's called a tail.
Yeah,
is what some people call it a tail. But the 9 years of unfixed time, they got that dropped off. So I just had a 1 year fixed sentence with no tail, which was very, very beneficial to me. And I didn't realize that at the time because I hadn't been mixed up in the system.
Yeah.
So I just had a 1 year fixed sentence, went to prison for the year. After 6 months, I went to the CRC, which is the Community Reentry Center.
Yeah.
It's like the work release center. So I got my job back at Whole Foods. So 1 year before I went to prison, I was like, I got to get a job. So I went and got a job at Whole Foods, and then I went to prison. And then while I was at the CRC, they let me come back to Whole Foods. I worked there for the last 6 months of my sentence. And actually, Idaho has a really cool program. They do what's called expanded CRC. So the last 3 months of my sentence, I got released out into the community, got my own place, was able to come to the studio and rap and go to work. Like I was basically in the community. I just had to touch base with a probation officer.
Yeah.
Like with everything I did. If I left the house at all to even walk to the gym.
Yeah, right.
So I got to do that last 3 months, and then me and Nate got to do our thing while I was doing that, which got us a good leg forward moving into this situation. And now I'm out clean, good to go. I got my passport. Had no problems. Nice. I was able to get a passport, able to get housing, able to get a job, able to get my life back. Like everything has gone really well. And it's been nice because I feel blessed because I'm in this position, able to quit the job, able to have my music doing well, even though I've had a checkered life prior.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what makes you guys so great is you guys are real people who have had struggles and, you know, you've been through a lot in your own lives. And I think that's what comes out in your music as well. And that's really what drew me to your music personally, because it just kind of resonates with some of my past as well. So I appreciate you sharing that, Kris. You know, you mentioned you guys grew up on a farm. Is it fair to say you learned how to work hard?
Yeah, I learned exactly what I didn't want to do in life. No, but you're right. We learned to work real hard. Like work ethic is never a problem for us. And that's part of how the music has taken off for us. A lot of people here in my town are really talented, but they don't come and do something every day. No matter what, we spend time in music every single day. And eventually that you break a threshold, you know, like I feel like almost the universe knows, like they care, you know, and it like, it's not you can call it luck, whatever you want to call it, fate. It just something just takes off and it just starts happening. You know, you just put time in and that's what happens.
No, I love that. Yeah, I've done a little bit of farm work. My father-in-law used to have a ranch up in Idaho, Preston, Idaho, and we'd go up there. Yeah, we'd go up there and we'd brand cows and we would, you know, bale some hay. And dude, I've never worked so hard. And we'd go up there for 3 or 4 days. And I'm like, man, that was the hardest 3 or 4 days of my life.
Yeah, dude, it is not easy work. I have so much respect for ranchers, like anybody that's working in the farm industry. It is not easy.
Yeah. So when did you guys know that, hey, we're going to do music, we're going to do rap, we're going to do hip hop, we're going to do poetry? When did you notice this as young kids, or this just kind of morphed later in life?
You know, when I look back on my life now, and try to. I noticed a lot of people have a hard time deciding what they want to do in life. There was one thread through my whole life of something that I just loved, and it was music. And when I look back, I'm like, there was part of me that knew like this is the direction you need to go in life, because it was all I cared about from the first time I heard music on, like, there's a program called Encarta when I was like in kindergarten. Yeah, I went over and typed in hip hop and Dr. Dre, Surgery, and Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, The Message, were on there, and I would sneak over there and just listen to it every day. And from that moment, my life just was all hip hop. As much as I could consume, and I just wanted to perform so bad. So since I was like first grade, I knew like this is what I love. Like genuinely, I felt like it was the only calling I really felt in life. Besides like trying to, I always had like serious questions when I was like, I don't know, 8, 9, just wondering like, what is God? What is consciousness? Who am I? What's my deepest nature? Like, I remember just sitting on the bus wondering, like trying to make my mind go blank and just imagining if there was nothing, and my mind would hit this like blank place, and it would literally be like completely blank. And I remember just wondering like, what is this nothing? If there's nothing, it was like this enigma in life that was pulling me. And those two things have mixed together perfectly. Hip hop and that question have melded so well for me to be able to make music in that direction, and people be able to like jump into the world of the things that interest me, meditation and hip hop. It's just those two things just like pulled me in a direction in life, and I'm still going down that path. But I knew I wanted to do hip hop like probably about 10 or 11.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How about you, Kris?
Mine was kind of osmosis behind him, because I wanted to play professional football my whole life. Yeah, and I was trying to play football at a high level. I was getting ready to play football at Boise State, and ended up getting in some trouble.
Surprise.
It didn't work out, but also that's a good thing, because I went through massive spinal injuries too. Ended up giving me a hard time after the fact. So that was like a blessing in disguise, and that's a separate story. But it was kind of osmosis, because I wanted to play football, and then I came up to Boise and was trying to still play football. Tried out for the Boise football team even after they didn't want me, but this team was so good and so packed they weren't taking any more people at the time. But I just kind of followed him, because he was like, I came up here, didn't really know what I was going to do other than football, and then that didn't work out, and he was kind of doing the music thing. And then it kind of for me, the thing was he was already doing music, so I started writing a lot my senior year. I kind of was outside of my sports. I was super involved in all sports, like football, wrestling, track, golf, like everything. I was involved in a lot of stuff. And but during that year, Nate started making music, and I started just writing, because I loved hip hop, I loved music, and I was just in this place in life where I was exploring myself. And so I was practicing that. And then once I got into college, and we started that karaoke story he told, and then we went to a show. That karaoke story happened, and we were kind of like fiddling with music in general. But then we went to a show one time, and we were kind of fiddling with it. We went to the show and saw 2 Southern rappers. I won't name them, but they didn't do very good. And a bunch of the local acts weren't very good either. And we got back home, and Nate's like, dude, they sucked. We can do this. We can do this. And I remember he was kind of hesitant, but the energy behind it was like, fuck it, dude, let's do it. And I remember I said that, I'm like, let's just do it. And from that day, it led to this. That's what it was for me. Like, I always loved music, but I kind of followed into this through osmosis behind him, and then it just led to this.
Wow, I love that. Thanks for sharing that, guys. I know you guys obviously are into meditation and all of what that looks like, and being mindful and present. And I work with clients every day who are struggling, learning to control their mind, right? I'll tell my clients all the time, you don't have a drinking problem or a drug problem, you have a thinking problem. Mm-hmm. And I would love to hear your guys' thoughts, because I know meditation is a huge part of your passions and what you do on an everyday basis. Will you guys just explain, whoever would like to talk about it, what is meditation, and why is it so good for you guys, and how does that meld with hip hop?
So we kind of have a different view on this as far as as far as meditation. Myself, the way I look at meditation is it's just basically it just means relaxing and letting things settle. So to me, the mind, whether you call a thought good or bad, it's going to perpetuate thought. So if I'm sitting here and I identify with the thought and call it good, it still keeps the thoughts moving. If I identify with it and call it bad, either way, I've jumped into thought and keep the wheel moving.
Okay.
But if I just sit back and I just watch the thoughts without any bias, I just look at it. It's just like muddy water. Like eventually, if you just stop moving, the water settles and you can see a little bit. When the mind settles, there's another layer underneath that. It's like emotions and feeling. They're a little bit closer than the mind. The mind is more on the outside, but feelings are a little closer to you.
Yeah.
But they're the same. If you identify with them, they don't stop. The mind will easily stop if you just watch it and unbiasedly. And the same thing with the feelings. If you just watch your feelings, eventually those settle too, and then you get an intimate interaction with your core. You can call it God, you can call it consciousness, you can call it nothingness, whatever you want to call your source. You just tap into it, and now you have a clarity when you walk forward. So meditation is just a method for you to be able to relax yourself into having like a direct communication with yourself, so you can hear yourself. And then from that place, there's like a bliss that comes with that too. Just feeling yourself. But everywhere you go, your ability to be influenced, your ability to be in touch with yourself, meditation just brings you to that level. And now everywhere that you walk, thoughts aren't a problem, feelings aren't a problem. You can have all the deep pain, you can have all the worst thoughts, but when you don't identify with them, they're not as bad. The resistance to these things is what causes you to have struggle. So it's not that you don't go through life in the same way. It's that you just have a deep interaction with your deepest self. And now you have like a communion kind of happening with yourself. So to me, it's as simple as that. You can there's literally, 112 meditation techniques that you can practice. They're just techniques for you to be able to do exactly what I just said. It's up to you which one works for you. But that, to me, that's the nature of it, is just being able to hear yourself, to listen to your source.
Wow, well said.
Yeah.
Anything you would add to that, Kris?
I'd not really add to that, because like he said, we have different approaches to meditation. The usage of it for me is a little bit different.
Okay.
I don't necessarily disagree with anything he said, but the way I use meditation, I meditate 3 times a day, and I use it more as in a practical application for my life in terms of like, I really like Joe Dispenza's style in the meditations.
Yeah.
I'm very much like him. And I also like the 3-6-9 technique of meditations. So in my life, what I do, I meditate 3 times a day, and I'll basically, one of the sayings that I like is that truth is law, law is love, and love is God. And with the Joe Dispenza thing, it's basically entering into the field of God in my eyes. So I try to sink into that place and then create from there. But I also use the 3-6-9 method in terms of doing 3 meditations a day, and then writing out the manifestations 3 times, 6 times, then 9 times, reading them back, and then saying them back. And then I'll visualize that. For my ideology towards it is infinite freedom, love, and heaven, creating those in my life, and I visualize them. And then I see how I want my life within those modalities, what I want exactly in my life, in every single aspect, with, my health, with my living situation, with my career, with my love life, every single thing I can think of, I'll put that in there. I'll see it, I'll feel it, I'll visualize it, taste it, touch it, every single thing I can do with it. I will experience it to the best I can, as if I'm present in that moment, as if it's already happened, to bring it into my life, basically collapsing space and time and bringing it to me, from the Joe Dispenza's approach. And it's where really, with all this stuff I went through with that shit with prison, getting in trouble, I really started implementing this right around the time that we started taking off on TikTok, like right around that same time. And to me, it's heavily meshed together. Like that energy is part of what has brought the success into my life, and the focus too. So that's how I apply it in my life.
And the reason we disagree on that is because, to me, like, when I look at people trying to use manifestation, I feel like they're shortcutting what they're experiencing right now is the best manifestation you can ever have in your life. To me, whatever is happening is meant for you to accept and live it out fully, rather than try to imprint what you think is better. Life knows exactly what it's doing, and it doesn't need you to try to change everything. If you want to make a change, you can't do that without accepting what you're going through. And to transform something, you have to be able to look at it in an unbiased way to understand it. And so, to me, trying to imprint those ideas over the top of it is like discrediting what you're going through right now. It doesn't allow you to make real change. And that's my opinion on it, but we kind of differ in those ways.
Yeah, and it's just the difference of us in terms of a person. Like, we're, in a lot of ways, we're the same, but we're contrast to each other, different approaches to the same road.
Yeah.
But I had something I wanted to say about what you just said. I totally lost my train of thought.
Yeah.
But
hey, well, right, hey, just stay in the moment, Kris, and you'll get it, man. It'll come to you. No, I love both of your approaches. I think I'm probably a mix. I probably lean more towards what Kris does. But I totally get what you're saying, Nathan. It reminds me of this beautiful quote by Ganilian Norris. It says, "Within each of us, there is a silence as vast as the universe. And when we recognize or when we're in that silence, we remember who we are."
I have goosebumps. Right?
Yeah. And I'm so with that, because I know my biggest problem when I was in my drug addiction, I could not stop this. It was just going 24/7 to the point where I just wanted to, end myself, because it was just so much suffering going on. So, but no, I love that you guys are into this. I'm maybe a lot more like Kris in the sense that I need kind of a little bit of a structure, because it keeps me in the right place for me personally. But but I love what you guys are doing. I think it's fantastic.
Hell yeah, dude. Thank you.
And I recall I was going to say, I think for me, what it is like not trying to create those things. Yes, I'm seeing them and feeling them, but also I think there's like a certain understanding of you have to not force those things. You have to understand that the universe is going to bring them into your lives in its own way. So you kind of have to see it, feel it, and let it go. And, just let love guide you to it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. Have you guys ever heard of the book, The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren?
No, I haven't.
Does that ring a bell?
No.
It's at one time, it was the #1 best-selling book of all time. It was selling like 1 million copies a week. And it, you know who Ray Lewis is, right? The linebacker, and Michael Phelps. They're best friends, but they were both struggling, going down the wrong path. And this book, they'll tell the world that book saved their lives. Wow. And so I read this book. I'm like, man, and there was a line in the book that changed my life when I read this line. And here's what it said. It said, "God doesn't have love. God is love."
Yeah, he says that shit all the time. And it's true.
And I've overcomplicated this whole higher power thing my entire life. And then when I heard that, just, how sometimes you can read something and it just slaps you? Yeah. It slapped me. It woke my ass up. I was like, whoa, there it is. God is love. Why have I overcomplicated this whole thing? I mean, I'm getting chills as I'm telling you this, guys. Right?
I agree.
And here's a cool thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm going on a bold stance here. We're connecting right now, even though we're not in the same room, but you guys are feeling some love right now, and so am I. So in other words, we're having a God experience right now.
Right, exactly. And that's the reason he says that all the time, and I always flip those words. I say love is God rather than God is love. And there's a little bit of a difference to me.
Sure.
But yes, I agree with you. I feel great right now. I'm stoked. Yeah. I'm so excited you asked us, man.
When I learned that saying that I said earlier of truth is law and law is love and love is God. Yeah. That actually comes from Edgar Cayce. I'm not sure if you know who he is, but some of your listeners may.
I've heard of him. Yeah.
Psychic from the mid 1900s. Pretty amazing person in my opinion.
Yeah.
Viewers can check him out if they want, but that's where that statement comes from. And at the end of that statement, they follow and they say, well, what is God? And in that statement they'll say, well, God is the law and the love.
Wow.
And to me that made a lot of sense. It is the same. Feel exactly what you said.
No, thank you, man. I love this. And again, I love your approach. And I have this belief, guys, that life happens for us. Kris, you go into prison. It happened for you. You even said it. You learned all these lessons because of it. You wouldn't wish that on anybody, but yet you learn these lessons. Nathan and you guys growing up on the farm and working hard and wrestling and being in sports and all these things have led to you, to experience what you do with your meditation. I want to read a quote to you, if that's okay. It's by
Please.
James Allen. He wrote the book As a Man Thinketh back in 1903. But listen to this quote. I want to hear your thoughts on it, okay? It's a beautiful quote. It says this: "When one has reached the lowest point of sorrow, when weak and exhausted and overcome with a sense of powerlessness, he cries to God for help, and there comes no answering comfort and no succor. Then, discovering the painfulness of sorrow and the insufficiency of prayer alone, he is ready to enter the path of self-renunciation, ready to purify his heart, ready to practice self-control, ready to become a spiritual athlete, and to develop that divine and invincible strength which is born of self-mastery."
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I genuinely like that. And I like that they felt like the way that they hit into the point of like, at a point he's praying, but it's doing nothing.
Yeah.
Like there's life is, you are life. It's always in your best interest. It's not trying to trick you. Wherever you are is right where you should be. Like it's, and I love that. I genuinely do love that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
What do you feel?
That takes me back to what a guy in prison told me while I was in there, because I got stuck in county jail for like a few months, and it sucked. I was a small county jail, and it sucked. It's way worse.
I can imagine.
Oh God. And when I was there, I was just like, get me to the prison so I can get to the CRC. I want to get to the work release program. I know I can get there. Yeah. And while I was there, I was going through hell, and one of the guys brought me the Bible. He was just this really religious guy, and he's a buddy of mine. And he's like, he pulled out this verse, and it was talking about, I can't remember all the details, but it was talking about going through the seasons of life. And you have to go through the seasons of life. And he's like, this is one of your seasons. You have to go through the season, what it has to offer you. You have to go through it and accept it right now before you can move on.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, those were probably really soul satisfying words in the moments where you're like, get me out of here.
Sometimes, so it's little wins. You get something like that. I needed that today. But then 5 minutes later, you're like, this shit sucks.
Yeah. I had it once said, a spoken sentence can turn the tide of history.
Yeah.
You like power of words, right? Just listening to you guys talk to me right now. It can turn my history around. Like it can change the course of my day today. When I listen to your guys' music, dude, I did my first marathon, and I was listening to your music as I'm running, and I'm going, these guys, and I'm literally just bouncing. And here I am, this 56-year-old gray-haired old man, acting like I'm some kind of rapper guy, which I'm not. But your music really pushed me to do what I was doing, and just your words are meaningful. You don't just throw out anything. It's like you got a purpose behind what you guys are saying. And is that fair?
Yeah, I appreciate that a lot. I put so much time into making sure that everything connects and it comes from a place that I genuinely feel. Even if it's a braggadocio song, it's meant to inspire you to feel amazing. It's not meant to be like, I'm better than you. It's like, it matters to me, like every word in every song.
Yeah. It's like your music makes you want to get up and move.
Good. I love that. I love that so much.
And I'm the worst dancer on the planet. You can ask my wife, but I'll tell you what, I'll move. I don't care.
Those are the funnest people to watch.
Right.
That means we're doing our job. And to me, it's beautiful, because I want, the intention is to touch the heart and mind of the whole world, and if we can do any benefit for any person's life, that means we're doing our job. Like, people send us messages. When we first started doing well, people would send us messages on like TikTok and be like, you literally made us ready and commit suicide.
There's been, we could put together a collage.
We've gotten multiple messages that. And that shit to me is one of the biggest, like that's like, I'm doing my job. I'm doing what I set out to do and what I intend to do through love, through my music, and with love as the intention. It's like, I couldn't get a better compliment.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple things come to mind when you say that, guys. we need you. People need you. Like if you got people reaching out to you saying, hey, I decided to live because of you and because of your words. Again, a spoken sentence can turn the tides of history, right? So there's that. But then I also look at this. Think about all of your experiences and all the training you've put in with your meditations and just the time you put into it. It's you wouldn't be doing this had you not been through your own challenges. Yeah. Therefore, like you said, we're all in this together, I guess, when you look at it that way.
It's interesting to me too, that like the paradox of how life works is like, for me, getting into the music was just something I love to do. And so by me just genuinely being engulfed in something, not thinking about anybody else, just myself, just selfishly sitting down because it was fun, sheds a light into this. It like worked in this beautiful way. Like he does have that intention to like change the heart and minds of the world. But for me, it's just like, I want to spend my life in a way that it feels like a quality experience and that matters to me. And since it matters to me, it happens to touch other people too. It's like this weird paradox where me just caring about making sure my life is in order and like meaningful to me is meaningful to other people as well. You know?
Yeah. I like the idea of changing the fabric of reality. Yeah. Like with every decision we make, it's like sending ripples out into the universe. And we don't know how far necessarily, but I think about it in the dumbest ways, but like grabbing the cup. Like, like grabbing that cup. If I do or don't grab it, it changes the fabric of reality for existence.
Dude, right?
That could change fucking reactions. But when I apply it to like words and intention and how I'm living my life and what I do to deliver messages to an individual, if they're having a bad day, like that shit, I could say something good to somebody and then they go about the rest of their day in a good way and do the same thing, like that shit could change the fabric of reality for the good or the better or the worse,
Yeah. Wow. I love that. There's another thing I want to share with you. It's out of the Bhagavad Gita. And it says, for the one who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for the one who has failed to do so, the mind will be his greatest enemy.
I think that's such an important point because the spiritual path, for most people, they think the mind is the enemy. And it's really not. It's everything you got in your body is meant to be used in the correct way. It's that through school, we were never taught how to use the mind. We're literally like just grasping, not understanding. We're groping in the darkness. We have no idea. Yeah. And so like the mind, your emotions, your body is all here as your friend. It's listening to you. It's that you don't know how to use it. That's it. When it's, God, I love that quote. The Bhagavad Gita was the very first book I ever got when I was in college. It kind of started me down that path. Yeah. I ran into like a monk in the school and had an odd interaction with him and ended up giving me this book. I went down the path of just reading that book, jumping into a bunch of other ones, kind of setting them all aside, not finding what I wanted, but it set me on a path. And that quote is so poignant. And your mind is not your enemy. It really isn't. Right. You don't need to fight with your mind. You just need to let it relax. That's it.
Yep.
That quote makes me think of the quote. I think I might butcher it a little bit, but I just saw it. It was like, no man is free who's not a master of himself.
Yeah.
And I think meditation is a big tool to create that mastery. You can master your physical, mental, and spiritual bodies and emotional bodies in a lot of ways through meditation alone.
Yeah. No, I love that. Now, we're on the same wavelength here. Have you guys ever read the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali?
No, I've never heard of it.
You guys would dig this so much. Okay. These are writings from 2,000 years ago. Wow. And I'll share some of these with my clients that are just blow your mind, if you will. Yeah. And anyway, I was just curious if you ever had studied them.
What's a really good one too that I actually came across quite a while ago is the Tao Te Ching, the Stephen Mitchell translation.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
You could read it in one day. It's just tiny little phrases, like 100 of them. Oh my God, same thing. Life changing. Life changing.
You can read it for a day or you can read it for a year.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Because you can sit on there comes in like proverbs, almost like a poem-ish type writing. Yeah. And each one of them, you could sit on it and ponder each one of them for a couple hours to a day if you wanted to. Or you could just read through it in a day. Like
by the time you finish it, it'll transform you instantly. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful.
What was it called again?
The Tao Te Ching, but it's spelled with a T. I think it's TAOTE. Ching. I would get the Stephen Mitchell translation. That one's the best.
I'm just writing that down. I'm going to check that out. Thanks,
I've been taking notes of these ones you're sharing.
Yeah.
I'm checking them out for sure.
Yeah, I love that. I want to hear your thoughts on this too, guys, just because, again, where your heads are and what you guys are doing. I love it. I had a client once share this and had a similar story of you, Kris, where he went to prison for a while. He was addicted to drugs, and he was one of my clients, and he shared this with me, and I thought it was so profound. And he was quoting someone else, but he put it in his own words. And here's what he said. I tried to find myself I could not see. I tried to find my God eluded me. I tried to find my brother, I found all three. Love to hear your thoughts on that one.
You want me to go or you want to go?
Yeah, go ahead. Do
you have anything?
No, I don't really have much for it now.
This is what it reminds me of. Let me tell you what it reminds me of. I think because the consciousness has no location, it has no thing about it. It's not a form. So your mind can't grab it.
Yeah.
So trying to understand yourself when you're trying to look out into the world in the way we know things to be tangible, the mind needs something to grab. But to understand what your consciousness is, it requires something different than like a scientific approach of trying to find something to grab onto to understand. So what I explained in the beginning about meditation, being able to relax into your core, because it's already there. It's not something you have to find. It's been there the whole time.
Yeah.
It's just you're clouded with thoughts and clouded with emotion. So being able to relax into that place, your center has no location. It's literally everywhere and nowhere at the exact same time. It's so trying to find it in a way where you're looking for something will prevent you from seeing it. You have to just relax into it. Because it's free of time, there's no memory of it. So you're trying to find something that is impossible to remember. You can only sink into it and you'll know it instantly. You can't grab it. There's no intellectual way to understand it. There's only a way to be it. And sinking into it just by relaxing it's the key. That's it. And you'll find it. It's not eluding you. You are looking with a biased perspective, like you think you know what you're gonna find already, but you don't. You just need to relax and you'll find it. That's everything you just said right there. That's all that makes me think of. So you can say what you want.
I love that. Well said.
For it at all.
Yeah.
I think it kind of went over my head.
Yeah.
Hey, I love the honesty. Thank you.
I'm not even going to blow smoke up your ass.
Yeah. I love that. No, you guys are awesome, man. And Nate, that was a very well explanation. I appreciate you sharing your insight on that.
Thank you.
That really touched me. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Yeah. So here you are doing your hip hop and stuff. Let's talk about that for a minute. Like what's like the biggest challenge? Like let me ask it this way. What are some of the biggest lessons you've learned with hip hop and what's maybe been some of the biggest challenges with it?
Oh man, God.
I know it's a big question.
I was saying I could have been a doctor twice before I became a fucking rapper.
It's really not. You're right.
I could have been a doctor twice by now. I really could have. If I'd have just been like, if I took the same time and energy and allocated it towards being a doctor and going to school, even with the funds and shit, I could have done it twice.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I think being an entrepreneur is difficult, but I think the most difficult thing for us is probably being where we're at in the world for hip hop. We're in Idaho, and Idaho's not a hip hop place. So until this time, it hasn't been something where we've even been able to break out of the fucking bubble of the local scene. Yeah. And finally, we got on the internet and we popped it, and people are like, "Oh shit, these guys are good. Like, who is this?" But being white Idaho boys that are rappers, I think that was the biggest hurdle. Yeah. But now also too, as I say that, and as we move forward in our progression and growth, it will become one of our biggest like blessings in my opinion, because people view us to be like these white fucking farm boys from Idaho are great. Like it will totally shift the dynamic. Instead of being something that was against us, it's for us but we need enough energy behind it to where we're looked at in that light, in my opinion.
Sure. No, well said, Kris.
Yeah, the hardest part was definitely just jumping the barrier of going from local to online. Along the whole way, like when you want to do something so bad, you'll find a way to do it. But at first, trying to learn how to run the programs and not knowing how to use like really any of the recording equipment, and the whole path of navigation is like I'm really good at being able to learn things. So I taught myself how to do all of this, but there was a hurdle right at the end of just not being able to, like, every show we play, people are like, how are you guys not huge? You guys are so good. Our live show is even better than our written music. Like, it's incredible. Imagine. It really is good.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Everybody be like, how are you guys not blowing up? If people could just hear you. I got so tired of hearing that. And then thank God TikTok came along and people started listening to our music and it went viral. But that hurdle, like if anybody's listening to this that does music, use the internet, because you're not trying to do it locally. It's not going to happen. It's pretty hard to blow up it, no matter where you're at in the world. Like we get online and, last month we performed for over 100,000 people just through TikTok, just on live by being on there an hour and a half a day, Wow. So I don't know, that hurdle of getting known, like we had the talent. It was just, we needed people to see it.
Yeah. And that's one thing I want to add to that too. Nate is like, we literally do this completely independent. We have no help from anybody at any point. We don't make our beats. That's it. But Nate has figured everything out. Nate is like a boy genius. If it wasn't for him, we would not be where we're at all. Awesome. We wouldn't even be on this podcast with you if it wasn't for Nate, because Nate figured all this shit out. But also too, awesome. I want to go back to your question of one of the most difficult things, I think, emotionally as the entrepreneur in hip hop, like as a musician, is such a courageous, gutsy move from the decision being made at the beginning and then continuing on that path. Like, it is a very weird, different road, and to live that life day after day and to be blessed with any success like us at this level, I feel like I couldn't be happier. But there's so many people that don't get to that point, and they do take a jump, and it's just like,
it's 99% failure. It really is.
It's gotta be. It's so daunting to even think about, but that road and that emotional, what you go through of like, is this shit? What am I doing? Like, but also to the guts to be like, I love this shit, and I can do this. I know I can do this, and I have the fucking balls to go all in with it. Like me, the way I look at it, I'm like, I don't have a wife. I don't have a fucking kid. I went into prison for fucking hustling because I was trying to create a situation where I could still do my music and succeed in it, but at the same time, have the time and ability to, but also still a cushion. So it was like this whole weird road and all these emotions going into it. And that is a difficult one, dealing with all that, processing all of it, sitting with it, being able to digest it and actually move through it and see success, and not give up. Like, that is fucking difficult.
Yeah. I appreciate you sharing that, Kris, because I think, it's easy for me to look at you guys on, social media and go, man, these guys are amazing. They're naturals. They make it, but we don't see maybe all the hard work, the blood, sweat, and tears behind the scenes that you guys go through on a daily basis, right? And so I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yeah. I mean, you too, to get 500,000 downloads on your podcast is insane. I saw online, like, what was it, 85 or 84% of people don't have over 1,000 followers, even on like YouTube. For you to get 500,000 downloads is mind blowing. We've done a podcast. It's not easy.
That probably puts you in the top 1% easily.
Yeah.
Well, I saw another stat that less than 1% of people who start a podcast make it past episode 50.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
So think about, of all the millions of podcasts that are out there, less than 1% make it past episode 50. And I've heard also, if you make it to episode 100, you kind of hit that tipping point a little bit where now sponsors want to be involved, and now people, kind of that, momentum moving forward. So,
do you feel like with your podcast, just time and energy was kind of like Novocaine, it just works over time?
Yeah, it's really consistency. I've posted one episode every week for 7 years. Yeah.
Congratulations. Do you feel like the consistency was your biggest friend?
Absolutely. Like, because, I had days like I've heard it once. If you're going to do a podcast, you better love it because it's going to take a while.
It's so true.
And probably same with hip hop and getting where you're at. It just took me a while because there's a million choices out there for podcasts. Like, who am I? I'm just some dude in a, office here in Utah. Yeah. So, but it's been the consistent every week. I just keep posting every week. And I bring on amazing people like you who I don't make it about Todd. I make it about you two. This is your story, not Todd's.
Yeah.
And I really want to promote you guys and the goodness you're putting into the world. I'm with you. Like, I think good promotes more good. Good creates more good. Love creates more love. All that stuff. And here we are, if you will, connecting with love, and we want to give more out to whoever's listening, or whether it's through my avenues or yours. I just think that helps also feed that success moving forward.
I agree, and we've been asked to be on a lot of podcasts, and we've done them, but this one by far was the best. Like by far,
really, dude. I just got chills.
Bro, you have no idea. This is by far.
Wow.
We popped into one time, one of the first ones we did, and when we get into it, the whole entire thing, it was puppets. Puppets were looking at us, interviewing us. We were like, "What are we in here?" They were really nice guys. I actually really enjoyed it.
People, but it was.
Yeah. They're like, "What are we in?"
And it was like, they'll probably see this.
They were nice. I said that.
Yeah. Well, that's a huge compliment, and I thank you so much. That means the world that you would even say that. And just the compliment back to you guys, your music, honestly, like, it makes me want to be a better person. And here I am, 56 years old. I got 4 kids. I got 3 grandkids, 1 on the way. Your music typically wouldn't touch someone at my, age range, if you will. But dude, I'm telling you what, like I work out every morning and I'll put on some of your music, dude, when I'm running and lifting. And I'm just like, wow, these guys are on fire. And so I just want to thank you guys for the positivity and the passion. You obviously love what you do, and people can feel that. And I think that's why people love you guys so much.
Yeah, we do. We do what we can to be authentic, and I can't help it. I come by it honestly. I'm just fucking. Yeah. I'm that kind of a person, man. So I can't not be authentic. Yeah,
I can tell.
I would rather have that bone in me too. It's just the way I am. You're gonna get what you see is what you get.
Yep. Totally. No, you, and again, that comes across very well. The message is well received.
I appreciate it a lot.
Hey, real quick. Go ahead, please.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just you go first, because I was just going to talk about your new album and how people could get it.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll let you go ahead. I was going to talk about, because I know you do health stuff, and probably have people that are trying to get clean and stuff.
Yeah.
Me and my brother went and did, I don't know if you ever heard of it. Have you ever heard of Ibogaine or its benefits?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, we went and did a show in Cancun, and they offered us to do Ibogaine because there's an Ibogaine treatment center.
Oh, really? Okay.
I didn't know about the benefits of Ibogaine. I was very, very kind of shocked by how it can get people heroin and fentanyl. And when we were down in this place, I literally watched a girl that was withdrawing from fentanyl, dope sick as hell, couldn't come out of her room, couldn't eat, and then she did the Ibogaine. 10 hours later, she's just like us.
I know, right? Yeah,
it's amazing. 90% effective.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate the regulations up here around all that, and just maybe people expensive. And people looking it down, and it's so expensive and this and that. But I wish it was more ready available, because I deal with heroin addicts and fentanyl addicts every single day of my life. That's my clientele. Yeah, and so trust me, I've done a lot of research into that and look into that, and again, watching what happens to someone when they go through that, it's a miracle, honestly.
There's also a lot of shitty places people go when they do it too. Like, they're dirty. Not like the place we went was called Beyond. It was perfect. It's 5-star. I can't speak high enough of those people. They were awesome.
Yeah, that's great. No, thanks for sharing that, Kris. I appreciate it.
I
love that. I love that edgy background of yours just always coming out. It's awesome.
Even the There's one other thing, like I've been looking into it the last couple of days because I've gone through chronic back injuries. I've had 2 stem cell shots, but I've had a discectomy. I was 16 from deadlifting too much weight.
Oh man.
And, so I've gone through chronic back issues. That was the blessing in disguise from not playing football. But like here in the last couple of days, I've been really looking into more stem cell shots from a bioaccelerator in Colombia potentially, and then like mixing peptides with the stem cells, and then mixing laser therapy with the peptides and stem cells, as well as oxygen therapy on top of it to help heal the disc. And then I learned of a new thing. It was called like interdiscal matrix therapy. It was like a new one that I hadn't heard of. It was fucking crazy. And I was asking AI, I'm like, how much would all these applications help on compound on top of each other? It's like, all of them will work for different areas of healing in the cell or in the disc. I was like, shit, this is dope. I love that type of shit.
Yeah. Right. That's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. Sorry, I digress on you.
No, you're good. I appreciate you sharing that. So you guys came out with a new album called Naithon, right? Just recently. And it's amazing. I've listened to the whole thing. Again, I tell you, I run to it, I live to it, that kind of thing. And, talk a little bit about that, and then where can someone find that if they haven't heard of you, and where also can people like reach out to you to get to know you guys better?
Anytime. You can DM us on Instagram. I try to respond to everybody. TikTok's a little harder because we have like double the following there, and it's a little harder to get to go through there.
Right.
But you can find our music anywhere. Just look up the name Holistic Meditation. They're on every platform. There's 4 albums. They're all really good. The new one just came out like, I don't know, 2.5 months ago or so. But I wrote that whole album while Kris was in prison. So, I was here by myself. Before he went to prison, actually, we actually recorded 800 videos so we would be able to share them while he was in jail.
Really?
So they were ready to go every day. I just had to share those. But then as far as like making an album, I wrote that whole album the entire time Kris was in prison. Like, a few of those songs are like, you can kind of feel the pain I was going through at the time. But I don't know. I took about, I tried to get 1 song done per month. I run a recording studio here in Boise. We kind of set that aside now that we've been rapping more, but on TikTok and whatnot. But yeah, the album was just kind of what I was going through, the ups and downs of Kris being in jail for a year. But I got a song done every month. By the time he got out, I planned it perfect. As soon as he got out, we did an album release. It was great.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah.
Again, that just proves your passion of what you do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. One last question for both of you. And I usually ask this with all my guests. It's this: if there's someone listening to you two right now, and they're in a dark place and they're struggling and they're, maybe don't even want to be here anymore, what would you tell that one person right now? And let's start with you, Kris. What would you tell that person?
I don't even know if it was my friend. I'd tell him it's going to be okay and that I love him and that I'm here for him, and if that's, and in life, you could find love for yourself. It's out there. The world is a loving place, and you can find that love, and life's worth living.
Okay. Well said. How about you, Nate?
If you're already at that place, how much worse can it get? If you're already at that place, like, it's only up from here. And, no matter what, you're going to get to experience that feeling of death at some point. Everybody does. If you're already at that place, you might as well put that same energy into making your life better. So maybe start with the small things you can control, like maybe have a good diet, maybe try to get some exercise today. Maybe, when you don't have exercise and your body's not moving, your mind gets stagnant, and just moving it a little bit helps improve your mood. So, wherever you're at in your life, a lot of those situations, you may have caused some of them, maybe you didn't. But if you did cause some of them, you can easily make the changes right now. Every moment is fresh. The fact that you're alive right now means change can happen. So you can make a decision right now to let all that be in the past and be a new person right now and go forward and have the intention to be the best person that you can be and work through life. We all feel pain, but if you don't resist the pain, it's not as bad. So just feel the pain, move forward,
Wow. Very well said. I work out because it's my morning medication. That's why I work out. So thank you for sharing that. And then, you know, Kris, what you said, if it was my friend, you said, I would just say, I love you. And there it is, man. That powerful word, the spoken sentence can turn the tide of history. You guys are amazing. I really do love you guys. I love your music. I love your passion. And I'm grateful that I had this opportunity to interview you two. That is a blessing and an honor that I'll never forget. So thank you for being here.
No, thank you too, man. You really do seem like a beautiful human being. It's rare to come across people that have a true. When I meet a lot of people that talk about spiritual shit, it doesn't seem like their words are attached to their actions and their life. They're just repeating shit. I can feel it from you, and that is so rare. And I really like that, man.
No, that means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah.
That means
it's
a lot.
An absolute honor and pleasure to be on your podcast, Todd. We really appreciate it a lot.
Thank you so much, man. We got the Freedom Renegades, folks, man. We got holistic meditation and MC Monkey D. I need a cool name like that, man. But no, you guys are amazing. I would challenge anyone listening to this, please reach out to those guys, download their new album, listen to their music, follow them on TikTok and Instagram. You will love them. It'll make your day. If you're having a bad day, seriously, watch one of their clips, dude, and you'll be like, okay, how can I not feel a little bit better? And so that's the challenge there. Please reach out to them. I'll put your links, guys, in the show notes when we go live. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Share this with your family and friends. The more we can get the word out, the better. I really believe these powerful words from these two amazing individuals can not only change your life, it may even save your life. So please give this a chance and give it out there. And I love you. And again, thanks to my sponsors. I wouldn't be here without you. Love you guys. Until next time, everybody. Love you guys. Hang tight.